Hello, welcome back. Here today is me. Yeah, it's the penultimate race of this season, which means a champion can be crowned. However, the big question mark around it is whether or not that will happen, because let me get a better look at this image. If I've calculated it right, it's not going to happen this race due to the fact that the current championship leader and second is not participating. So yeah, that is a big part of this race missing, as they will not be gunning at it against one another in this penultimate event, which is a sprint race. But yeah, we have been given the get-go. Last time I'd done it, it was round 8 this season. But yeah, currently McLaren lead the championship. They've got both cars in. They can win it today. But Mercedes can keep themselves in this championship today. Alpine basically guaranteed to drop out, as they've only got one car racing. Red Bull practically already mathematically out of it. In order to enter the finale, I believe you need about 55 point advantage in the... No, not even that. 58 point advantage into the finale, meaning as long as Mercedes don't double DNF and McLaren don't score at least 30 points, then they should stay in this title fight for one more race. But yeah, in a moment we will be entering sprint qualifying. As here, just a bit more context down the field. Both Ferraris are racing their 7th in championship, only 6 points off Williams, where both cars are appearing as well here today. And then we've got a Haas car in, whereas they are in 52nd in this championship. Rising Star, he's 8th in the drivers. He's in the Williams, of course, and could overtake Ali Hayder in the standings on the basis he outscores them by 4 points. Yes, this is a lot of information, but it's something to fill the void of this event with. But yeah, if Limitless Draco goes and scores maximum points in this sprint event, then he should mathematically be right on top of Marco and Konami for the season finale. Therefore, keep a very close eye on where that Mercedes puts it throughout this race. But yeah, we are about to enter sprint quali for the penultimate weekend of this season, final sprint event of the season. So this is your final sprint quali you will ever experience on the F124 game, unless they decide to stay on F124 for another season. On that basis, then yeah, you'll get more of it on this game, as we are going to tune in with that Williams who is out on track. It's Sese leaving the pits in very quick fashion indeed, as it's the Alpine who wants to try and put his name on the board immediately. But yeah, currently Sese, he's had an okay season from what I've seen. He's raced every now and then. He's been very off the pace in most places, but due to numerous events in which he's participated in, he's not too far off the nearest car in the standings. But yeah, it is him off the road, as he will be your first man to set a lap in the final ever sprint event in season 5. But we will just keep a little eye out on pit lane, as now Sese, he goes over the line now to start his run. He's already swerving round. He pulls out to the outside, now shimmies the car through turn 1 down into turn 2, trying up the gear on the exit there through turn 3, foot to the floor, all the way down now the Pestra Rosta, if I'm right. Don't judge my Spanish, or Portuguese. I don't study either, let alone Brazilian. But yeah, it's purple sector 1, but he's the first to do it. Up now into Laranja he goes, just trying to use the very tightest line possible, best way to go round. But he has gone off. He's lucky not to invalidate his run, but that's already putting a big hole in his effort. As let's tune in with Ali Haider, who's gone purple in the first sector, heading up the hill now into Laranja, as you see again, using a fairly tight line, now tries to keep the car in the middle of the road, optimises turning through the long left into a fairly long right. It's a very straining circuit on the tyres, just due to how there are so many long swooping left and right hand corners at a fairly low speed, as Ollie has gone fastest and Ali Haider invalidates it on the exit of that penultimate corner of Hunsao. As let's have a look at his teammate, who is now working his way round. Defence Master, really being a master at putting in the slowest lap so far. He's gone third of the 3 who have set a lap. As now, what can Shazad do? He's working his way through. Now through the right hander, really tight line, probably the same line I'd take. But you can see that Ollie is on a different planet to second and third in the Alpine and Aston, because there's only 4.5 seconds in it, not much at all. But you'll see it drop massively with the 2 McLarens going over line. Now Lex, he's gone 6/10 off, as a Limitless Draco has started his run, as yeah, that McLaren has invalidated. But Limitless Draco, he's in his first sector of his lap. He's on a set of mediums. This driver, if he aces this weekend, he could go to the top. Or, no, well, probably not the top, but almost the top of the standings. And be in for a really good shot of the title come the season finale next weekend, which you will be delighted to hear I will be commentating. I've booked out my whole schedule so I can do it. So yeah. But Limitless Draco working his way through the middle sector now. Is this a lap to put him up there? It's a 51.8 at the end of the middle sector. Aces Hunsao. No snap of oversteer like we've seen twice so far with the 2 McLarens. But now down to the line. DRS wide open. Really used the thinnest line possible up to the wall. And he's about 3/10 off pole. The Ferrari of Jacob is actually second. And it's in the car which is currently running 7th in this championship. As Ollie, he set a new fastest lap. Just to look at the Red Bull shining out on track here. If you remember back to Silverstone, because this driver is not an official driver, he was in a McLaren where he won. I'm not 100% sure about his, well, and then he raced out in Qatar and he put himself on the podium there. So chances he gets a podium this weekend, I'd say rather high. Because yeah, his only results in this league have been on the podium. But yeah, you can just see him probably on his in lap now. As what we are going to do, we are going to look at the guy who's just going through De La Salle, and that's the Ferrari of Mikau, who's on his lap. He's currently seeing whether or not he can chuck himself up the field a bit. As Rising Star, he has risen quite high. He was about 8th a moment ago. He's now 2nd and only 6/10 off Ollie, who has now just limbered his way into the pit lane. As Mikau going through the middle sector, what's it going to be? It's a 51.8. It's not bad at all. I'd say he's matching the likes of Limitless Draco. As Ali Hader, really good lap. He's in 4th. Mikau up to the line, DRS wide open. You can see he's harvesting, and he's only 6th. 2/10 off Limitless Draco. As there's a yellow flag in that final starting sector. As that was, yeah, him on a thing. But yeah, as a whole, this is just, yeah, ticking away. We have 4 minutes left of the final sprint session, as you've just seen Paul Diver in the V-carb, heading purple in the middle. He's on the mediums, up to the line goes the V-carb. What will it be though? Is it pole? No, it's nowhere near. It's 9/10 off, with the purple sector being snuck in the middle of it all. Limitless Draco, he's on a slow run. He's probably going to go for another push lap before the end of this session. So keep an eye out on that Mercedes gunning for the championship, with his teammate who is there to be his wingback if need be, as a Limitless Draco now into the pits. Let's see who's in a good position. Paul Diver cutting all corners, which I believe is against the terms of this league. So yeah, that may be investigated after the session, as Mikai, we will find out if he wins a lot, but who knows, as he is currently 8th on the grid for this sprint. There's 2.5 minutes left. Time is ticking away, and it really is not of the essence. As you can see, yellow's out on track for Sese, who was going slowly. It's 3/10 improvement for the Red Bull. He's on the softs. He's gonna get a bit of tow. He's using battery. That Alpine weaving a bit dangerously and getting out of the way in a fairly last inch gasp. As Mika has gone up into 6th. It's a decent lap, but who is on a lap? It's Rising Star. By looks of it, it's not his push. You can see his battery staying put. He's not burning any. He's just harvesting. But yeah, Rising Star Can he rise from third at the moment to pole maybe? There's a minute and 20 seconds left. If you are starting your lap from now, you will not get another run, so that's going to be everyone but Rising Star. Who has invalidated. He's going to have to race to the line now. But Ollie, he's also not really on too respective of a lap. He's 1 minute or so down. Lemon Draco. He's nicely tucked behind his teammate of Lex, who I believe is going to sacrifice his quali for his teammate. As we will find out now. Lemon Draco being pulled in by his teammate, who looks like he is staying dedicated to his run. So whatever Lex do, Lemon Draco should be doing the same. As you can see, very, very similar lines for the two drivers. Going to be using full tow possible, as there's a yellow flag out on track for Aston Martin, who has gone round of the fence matter. As still the two Mercedes pulling themselves along. As the session has ended, Sese and Thumbs Up are the first two to finish. Thumbs Up, maybe a thumbs down after this quali session. He's the lowest of those under 1 minute 10, but you can't really say it was too promising at all that it'd be the lowest of overall, because Sese is a good 3 odd seconds off. A Stone Hunter puts it very close to the front row. As the Limitless Draco's nipped it, he's gone P2. Lex has gone P4. Great placement for the Mercedes, as Ali Hayder's gone 5th. But Ollie, purple in the middle. He's finding 2.5 tenths of improvement. He is now roaring up to the line. Will the Brazilian fans like it? I think they will. The Red Bull goes up to the line, and it's going to be in 1 minute 6.8. Paul Diver and Mikal and Jacob have promoted themselves. Rising Star takes away Limitless Draco's front row. He's gone second and only 2.5 tenths off pole. That is very disappointing for the Williams in the sense he missed out. But that was a stellar lap by this Red Bull you tuned in with when the session ends. But boy oh boy, that is a very promising sprint quali for the final sprint race of the season. Just to contextualise this championship a bit more after them quali results, it looks very reassuring that Mercedes are going to promote themselves into the Constructors' lead after this race, as they have been catching them since about Monza, where McLaren really went for a strong phase. But now it could be Mercedes' chance to lead into the finale. They need to go flawless this weekend. To be fair, as long as they both finish both events, they should be leading. On the basis they're both in top 6 or so. But yeah, they are now preparing for their sprint. How are they going to do it? As Lewis Hamilton said, it's a marathon, not a sprint. But it's in the name, so it's more of a sprint. But yeah, when he said it, he was more referring to the championship. It takes a lot to win it, and endurance is that. Out of the 3 who are in for the title, Limitless Draco, Marco and Konami, only one will be participating today. Up to this current stage, they've all failed to finish or failed to participate at least twice. Limitless Draco being Saudi Arabia and Monza, Marco being Silverstone and Barcelona, Konami being Barcelona and Imola. However, the top 2 won't be racing today, as we line up for the sprint. 5 red lights, and they're gone. So are the drivers as they race up into turn 1. Will Ollie be able to hold off Rising Star? He pinches him to the inside, and the Red Bull will hold on to lead the first few corners of this very, very much lengthy 12-lap sprint. But as you see there, there's the Aston Martin of Defence Master going wide as Ollie defends Rising Star, who leads over Paul Diver, then Luminous Draco, and Mikau and Jacob fighting up into Laranja. But Jacob lets Mikau through, and that's the Ferrari problem sorted, as now they just follow each other along. We are going to put all the stuff you want to know in this race up, as that is it really. As currently Ollie is desperately trying to extend his lead in this race, but it's so difficult. There's 2 DRS zones in the final and the first sector, which really just drag you back in if you're close enough by then, and then it's all about whether or not you're quick enough in the middle part. As Ollie has set fastest lap, will there be a move down into turn 1? It didn't look it as such. However, DRS is now in play. Who's going to be ballsy enough to use it and overtake into turn 4? Currently, they've all been patient. They've all waited out a bit, as that is them continuing through in a snake, round this snake feeling circuit. But yeah, we just have to wait and see how this unravels. Currently, it looks like the race is going to be between Paul Diver, Rising Star, and Ollie, instead of the usual Luminous Draco, who wants to go for the title. But if he wants to, he will have to try and find something out of these next few laps, as there's Rising Star up to the inside. He's set fastest a lap and he's ahead before considering braking, but when he does brake, he locks up, and that's going to give Ollie a bit better traction on the exit here. Will he fight back? He's now got DRS on the Williams. He's going to look, but he's not close enough to go for a move down the inside. As you see, there's Stoned Hunter fighting Lex down into turn 4 through the Retro Aposta. As we go back up through the hill, Sese has hit a 3-second time penalty. He's only just started the 3rd lap of this race. If this continues up, he will have about 12 seconds come the end of this 12-lapper. But there's contacts. Paul Diver and Ollie. Ollie spun. That's another place for Luminous Draco, as he's capitalised on the V-carb, making that mistake, getting a bit too eager on the throttle, and therefore accelerating a bit too quickly, going into the back of the Red Bull, who was probably favourite to get a win in this sprint race. And now that Red Bull has plummeted down the order. He's down in 12th now, but Jacob hasn't really helped himself. He's gone backwards as well. As you can see, they have now fully disbanded from the group, as there's Jacob overtaking Thumbs Up to try and follow the Red Bull through. It's going to be big for Ferrari if they want to overtake Williams in this championship, because Williams, just like Ferrari, are putting in a fairly top-end result. But now Luminous Draco, he's now 2nd. He's 3rd in the championship, can be 2nd after this race. But look at Paul Diver. He's centre dive down the inside there on Luminous Draco. But he is really going to fight back. The Mercedes knows his title's on the line here. He needs these points. But Paul Diver said no and said, I will take that P2, thank you very much. And therefore, the man in P3 in the standings is P3 in this race, as Sese has crashed. But we can't actually see what's happened. It's not a crash, the car's moving. He's just chose to retire from session. As now up into turn 1, Rising Star, he's got it all under control. Paul Diver, he's not going to do a Thomas Runner-esque move, but he's going to have a look. That is probably the best way to describe the V-carb though. He's been very aggressive, of course, clipping the back of Ollie. And that and then sending a move on Draco. And now down the inside, going to give the Williams a bit of a squeeze, and he's up into the lead. As there's Mikau, who almost got better traction on the exit than the Mercedes. Could have promoted himself up into the top 4 here. As, yeah, this has really been a fairly lengthy event already. Especially for Ollie and Jake, as they haven't got the most of it. They're the biggest fallers so far this race. Ollie lost 9. Jake lost 6. As Ollie has just retired from session. You will probably not be able to see it, but we will see whether or not the car's still there when Defence Master comes round. No, he's already gone off the map. But that is just upsetting. As Rising Star to the outside of Paul Diver. Limitless Draco to the inside. Who's going to lead into turn 1? Limitless Draco has to yield the place to Rising Star just to avoid contact. He's playing it safe. He's playing for a result rather than winning. He just wants to finish. Finishing is his best bet at winning this title, not going for the wins. Yes, it sounds ludicrous, but in order to win, first you have to finish, as Martin Brundle says. But he really has to finish this race, because he's 54 points back. Every single point matters, especially when it's so close in the top 2. It's only 10 points between Kaname and Marco. Limitless Draco needs to be at least within 15 come the end of this race for the best shot, because they've been so out of the league of the rest is best way to say it for most of the season. So in order to do it, he will have to fight, and he will have to score these points so he's there if they end up zoning out in the finale and it all goes wrong for them. But Limitless Draco looked to the inside, but there's Mikau trying to send a move on Paul Diver, who gave him a very big squeeze. As there's Defence Master, I don't know why, but he's pitted again. It's a lap 7, but anyways, the Limitless Draco, he's into the lead here in Brazil. It's a lap 7, and the Mercedes leads for once. He is going for it. If I've got it right, his only win this season was Qatar up to this date, and therefore he could go 2 for 2 including sprints. He could even go 3 for 3 including sprints, and if he does that, he's right back into the championship. But yeah, you can see the 6-7 car queue just behind the Limitless Draco. They're all going to get DRS. It's almost like NASCAR here. Whoever's in slipstream is going to get the move done into the next corner. There's Rising Star out to the inside of Limitless Draco. He's placed the car down the middle, so he'd have to go to one or the other polar opposites and go to the extremes with the move. But he chose not to. Instead, down into turn 4 they go. Will there be a move now? He has a look to the inside. Will he go? Probably not. Stone Hunter, however, he does so, unlike his teammate, and has moved up a place. So Rising Star, you may want to take notes from your teammate, because he's found a place for you lot, which you could have also found into that corner. But there's still more laps to go. It's an endurance race more than anything. You don't want to be leading into that final sector, because then you have a very long straight, slipstream for the cars behind. They'll also have DRS 90% of the time. Therefore, a move into turn 1's almost definite. And you can see here, Rising Star, so much better traction on the exit. He's alongside before DRS even opens. And he's going to claw himself miles ahead before the finish line. As there's Paul Diver, he's going for a dive. He's hit Draco. Draco's gone wide. And he's been hit by Shazard. And that's really gone wrong for him. As a Limitless Draco, he's gone from leading into the final sector last lap. And now he's P4 after ghosting through 1 or 2 cars. He's going to be frustrated that Paul Diver's squeezed him while alongside. He's then dipped the wheel into the grass and then almost lost the car. But it's a Williams 1-2. I have not seen this in donkey years. But it's Williams 1-2. Will Rising Star be able to lead Stoned Hunter to the end? Or is Stoned Hunter going to try and fight? Because it's not like either of them are going for the title in either championships. Like, Rising Star's in 8th in this championship. He could probably come about 7th come the end of it. I can't even see Stoned Hunter in the top 17. That's how far down my graphics showing, just due to PC space. That's the best way to show it. But Stoned Hunter, is he going to stay in formation? Limitless Draco's probably going to want to try and get him placed back on Pool Diver, who has been driving like one heart. As there's Stoned Hunter, he's done 2 moves into that corner now. One was for P4, and one is for the lead. Just showing how confident that Williams is under the brakes into that corner, unlike his teammate, who is now following behind. As there's a yellow flag, it's Defence Master who has spun it round. He's really just racing at this point. He's driving as if it's time trial at the moment. He's got no one to compete with. But yeah. Anyways, DRS is now in use for Rising Star, Pool Diver, Limitless Draco, Ali Hader and Shazad. However, Rising Star, he's going to try and lift himself back onto the podium. He's going to have a poke down the inside on his teammate, who stays mature and fends off well. But there's Pool Diver. He's sent Draco off about 7 times so far this race. Is he going to send off Rising Star as well? Down the inside he goes. Gives a little squeeze under braking. But nicely done by the V-Carb. But Rising Star's going to fight back. He just had a little swerve, gone from the outside to the inside, and wasn't able to get past Pool Diver, who just placed the car really well. But now Rising Star round the outside. Is he going to get more traction? Currently, no. But will he fight back? You can see just behind him, Ali Hader having a moment with his teammate as they attempted to swap places spontaneously, as they're continuing to fight back there. But that is probably not what the McLarens want. They just want to take home a 5th and 6th here. Because the Mercedes are very much out of it. They're in 4th and 10th. Great chance for McLaren to extend their championship advantage. As there's Pool Diver down into turn 1. He's done the same thing as a Limitless Draco. Gave Stoned Hunter a little squeeze and then almost spin it. But Stoned Hunter then rejoins, smashes into a McLaren and plummets down the field. Pool Diver, he is very aggressive on the defensive side. You've seen that already. Limitless Draco and Stoned Hunter both been caught out by his defensive manoeuvres, you can call it. Literally squeezing him out of road and forcing him onto the grass into turn 1 to guarantee a move. But Pool Diver, he's going to be leading into the final sector. You can see he's not got much battery left. But Rising Star and Limitless Draco have so much more. And best way to do it is do it in cinematic mode. We're going to take off the margins and all that and just watch it for what it is. Pool Diver, he's going to get the Rising Star with DRS, who goes to the outside. He's swooped past and will win here. Limitless Draco has a move, but there's a Red Bull fighting the Ferrari, as Mikhail did not get it on Mika. But Rising Star has fought his way through these 12 laps. Pool Diver, despite some very, very deep dives, yes, a little pool related joke, but despite some very deep dives into some corners, he wasn't able to get the win. And some very, very aggressive defensive, to say the least, by that V-Carb, still didn't manage to get the job done. I'm 90% sure there's going to be some question marks about that race. Currently no one's outed anyone. That's the start. Usually there's one or two unhappy drivers, but Ali Hader, they're just talking about internet at the moment. But yeah, it's quali time, which is very, very odd. It's a rather late quali. For those who are joining, we just had the sprint where Rising Star won in a drag race to the line with Paul Diver, but who is going to be the first one to go out on track here? You can see, I believe that's Aston Martin. No, it's Alpine. Paul Diver has left the session and left in general by the looks of it. That's his session out, as there's a Red Bull getting ready to go. That is Ollie. He was rapid in quali. Is he going to be just as rapid in this session, where the conditions are a bit more like race trim now? As Sesse, just like in sprint, he's the first man out. But then, last time, he was the slowest on the grid. How much do you guys want to bet he stays that, as he's already gone for a trip off the road? As you can just see how laggy he is on the POV and on the offboard. But yeah, Sesse is going to start his lap now. We will swap to Ollie when he starts his, but let's just see how well it goes for the first sector at least of this Alpine. He manages to survive turn 1, turn 2 almost invalidates turn 3, he's already gone off. And now Ollie will start his. Thank God we have someone who's actually capable of pole. As you can just see how smooth the Brit takes each and every corner. He's just letting the car do the work. However, he's not on a run. A bit of weaving there. Tyre temps is the factor to look at. So therefore we are back with Sesse, who currently seems like he's able to stick on the island, which is development from sprint quali. But is he going to get a full valid lap? Because we know the Hunsell complex here tends to catch some off. Didn't catch him off though, as he's going to go up to the line. Surely this is quicker than a 1 minute 12 in sprint quali. He goes up to the line and it's a 1:11. Yeah, it is quicker. But you can just see Ollie now heading up to the line. I'm 90% sure he's going to be setting a similar lap. As you can see, he's only half a second off when he was doing tyre warm-ups still. And Ollie now on a flyer. What can the Red Bull do? However, Shazad to the line. He's done a 13. Looks like numerous drivers are doing double warm-ups. But Jacob, he's also quite off in that middle. He's probably also on tyre warm-up on them mediums. He's going up to the line. It's a 1 minute 10. Definitely not at his best yet, as Defence Musters going through middle. Mika up to the line. He's looking racy. He's ignored the thought of tyre warm-ups. It's a 1 minute 7.8 to start, as now his teammate is working his way down to the final sector. But Mikau up to the line. It's a 1 minute 7.8. Rising Star up to the line. He's looking just as competitive as the Red Bull and Ferrari on the front right at the moment. Is he going to split them or beat them? He's beaten both by 2 attempts. As Ollie now up to the line. The Red Bull, can he go quicker? Yes, he will. 3 attempts clear at the top. As there is an Aston Martin. He's gone 5th. It's a rather good lap. As Thumbs Up is on a run of his own. Yellow flags for Sesse. And it's Shazad who's going slow, probably to let cars by, as Shazad is dealing with, I want to say it's Jake, heading up to the line. What will Jake do? He's gone 4th fastest, 1,000th off his teammate, but thumbs up, 7th fastest at the moment. Anyone on a respective lap? Currently, don't think so. Sese really ain't. Invalid and no front wing. So yeah, I personally think he'll go fastest this time round. What do you think? Yeah, clearly not. Yeah, looks like they're all on in laps. Gonna get fresh set of boots on afterwards. But who isn't on an in lap? And instead on the opposite, an out lap. Lex in the Mercedes. Usually Mercedes go out in a duo and then drag each other along, like we saw in sprint quali, where Limitless Draco just missed out on front row. He went 3rd and then Lex went about 7th or whatever. They're doing separate runs in this first stage. There's still 12 minutes left for a run. Lex, however, heading up to the line now. There's yellows being waved for the 2 cars, Ferrari and Haas, who have just entered pits. But anyways, Lex is on a lap. They've probably timed it, so Limitless Draco gives his teammate a tow down the main straight, and then on Lex's cooldown lap, Limitless Draco then gets a tow off of Lex. That's probably how they're doing, because you can see Lex now being dragged along by his teammate, as he's gone purple sector 1. It's a good sector 1. As now he works his way up the field, Limitless Draco's outlap therefore compromised, as he's going to have to try and push to heat the tyres up that way by putting brake pressure force in and aggressively taking corners as if he's racing. Therefore, that's going to be the only way this strat can work for the Mercedes. As you can see, Lex, he's a 51.6. Trust me, I think it's going to be front row for now. I think it's going to be 2nd fastest if he can floor it down right. If not, it's going to be 3rd. But he goes up to the line now. His teammate's about to start a lap. What will he do? He's done a 1:80. It's been a really off final sector. Probably slowest of the top 6. And therefore, he's only in 6th. But Limitless Draco's now on the lap. You can see he's now going to get some DRS down the main straight as Sese comes out, almost spins into the path of the championship contender, as he's been let past by his teammate, as he's gone purple with a fairly strong sector 1 as well. But yeah, imagine how horrific it would have been if Limitless Draco got put out due to Sese leaving the pit lane quite hectically, and therefore maybe even threw away his championship hopes here. As yeah, for those who are new, there are 3 drivers capable of winning. That's Kaname, Marco and this Mercedes, who you are watching, who's just set a 51.7 at the end of the middle, who's going up to the line now. But he's the only one out of the 3 racing today, as Limitless Draco 2nd fastest, 3/10 off Ollie, who is actually out on track on another cooldown, I believe, as Ali Hayder is on a run of his own. Stoned Hunter's gone 10th, and probably on a more aggressive push lap now, as Ali Hayder, he enters the final sector now. It's a 51.7. It's the same that Limitless Draco set at the end of the middle, but it looks like Ali Hayder's dropped off a bit. It really does look that way. As yeah, it's a 1:10. But let's go to Stoned Hunter, who's setting the tracker light, as he's gone purple in the middle and finding a 2nd on his lap currently. Up to the line goes the Williams. What will it be? Is it going to be anything magical? It's only 9th. He's only found a place, but he found about 2 seconds in that lap. as Ali Hayder. He's a 10th down from what he's done so far. Rising Star has rejoined this session as, yeah, Ollie is just behind this McLaren, if I'm right, as Ollie is trying to extend his pole margin. Will be a really big statement, and if he does so, I can't lie, he may end up being the favourite for next season's title. He's managed to outclass the championship leader at Silverstone on his home soil. He managed to outclass the championship leader in Qatar. He goes up to the line now, and he has found a fair big gain as Ali Hayder's gone second fastest. But Ollie, he's setting sprint quali pace with still half of this session left, as Shazad has found a miracle run. He's gone 2 tenths quicker than Hayder and only 6 tenths off Ollie. However, who is going to be the closest to Ollie? Jake. He's found 3 tenths in that middle up to the line now, and he's done a 1:07.4. He's gone third as Defence Master, probably on and out. Thumbs up on a hot at the moment, with Lex just ahead. Within that queue you do have Ollie, and then Shazad, no, not Shazad, Ali Hayder. But anyways, thumbs up. He is not on a competitive run. Probably missed his competitive run at, as who's that leaving pits? That is Mikau. As Lex heads up to the line now to start his run. Into turn 1 we go. Brake at about the 150 bollard and just shimmy the car in. The later you can brake there, the better though, as it'll just allow you to be more aggressive and more critical through this part of the lap. Could Mikau play strategically with this, as Lex practically identical first sector to his last run? Because Mikau, if he places it right, he could hold up Lex for a bit without being deemed a bit too cheeky. Or he could let Lex by and try and get a toe off him. Two opposite here, as Rising Star's on an out lap, as yeah, Mikau has let him by, as Lex has gone purple middle. He's 3 tenths up. Up to the line he goes. Is he able to overtake his teammate in this? Maybe. He's gone 8th. As Mikau now starts his run, he's going to use a toe off Lex. How early does Lex get out of the way though? I would do it at the very start of the straight to minimise that toe. But it does look like Lex is on another run of his own, as that Mercedes is somewhat matching the pace of Mikau. With 5 minutes left, Lex has now started to drop off. Could this be where he starts to maybe back that Ferrari a bit? But if he doesn't, that Ferrari's just had a beautiful set of slipstream throughout the first sector and first half of the middle. Won't be surprised if the Ferrari goes purple middle, as he is coming up to the end of it now. What is it? It's 4 tenths improvement and a 51.3. I honestly think Lex has given him it. As let's see what he can do. Up to the line now goes the Ferrari, and it's invalid. He's pushed a bit too hard in the final corner. His lap, however, would have put him alongside his teammate in P4, however. But that is just upsetting, to say the least, as Rising Star's on the lap. His first sector, very small gain, but he's 4 tenths up at the end of the middle. Now, time to run up to the line. What can he do? He's currently 2 thousandths off Limitless Draco. He's got that perfect, as he's gone only second, 4 tenths off Ollie. as that Red Bull is just unbeatable here, to say the least. As Mika is now out on track, he is about to set up his own lap, as Jake has started to fly though. As the track is starting to get busy, 3 minutes left of the penultimate qualifying session of the season. It's the penultimate race for those who have just joined. You could probably tell by the title, but it is a very crucial one. Currently, out of the three championship contenders, only one are racing. They're down in P6, who is Limitless Draco. He's 54 points off Kaname. But due to the sprint, he's clawed a fair few back. However, he needs a result of a lifetime if he wants to have a shot at the title in Abu Dhabi. Because you can score about 50-ish points in one race here. But yeah, Jake, he's backed off. He's going to do a flyer in a minute. As Mika, he's practically identical to his previous best Sector 1. You can see how close it is. Limitless Draco and his teammates 6th and 8th. They're only split by 100th of a second, with a Red Bull in between them. And that Red Bull is the one you can see now on the off-board camera angle. As let's just have a little look on board. As you can see him now working his way down to the final sector. As he's only a 10th up on what he's currently got. It's not too much of a gain. But up to the line he will go. What will it be, as the Mercedes have just swapped positions on their outlaps? To the line goes Mika. What will it be? It's a 1 minute 7.5, as we can find out what one's in what order. It's Alex who's leading. That's quite obvious though, as Alex is not in this championship, so he's got no hope. But Limitless Draco does. It's very very little hope, but there's still a chance. You can never rule anyone out as long as they're mathematically able. You saw back in 2010 or whatever it was, Hamilton was only 23 points off the championship leader. He had a shot. He almost won that race. But yeah. And then Raikkonen was 8 points off, or whatever, into the finale in 2007, and he went on to win it then. So, yeah, as long as you're mathematically in it, you can still win it. History's proven that. But will it be proven here in SRL? As a Limitless Draco, he's on a lap, so is Alex. You can kind of watch them both, as there's a Ferrari who's just gone off the road to get out of the way. Ollie is out on track, everyone's on a run, but there's so many yellows due to so many cars trying to get out of one another's way, trying not to get penalty points or grid drops for next weekend for impeding, because if they get it next weekend, even if Limitless Draco gets it next weekend, it's his season over, as quali is finished. Shazard third, Rising Star, he's only gone second, just nicked under 1 minute 7. He's done 1 minute 6.997. But now the two Mercedes up to the line. What can they do? They are very similar in pace at the moment. Who's going to finish ahead of who? I think Lex dropped off towards the line, so Limitless Draco got a big slingshot, as he's gone third fastest, just like he did so in the sprint. But is Jake, he's invalidated. Anyone else on a possible run? Probably not. So let's just see what Ollie does. He's had a spin though. But anyways, he will get pole. He will have pole here in Brazil. And in a moment's time, a 50% Brazilian GP is on the way. Ollie will start on pole. Then it's Rising Star, followed by third place man in the Drivers' Championship, Limitless Draco. For the sake of Mercedes in this championship, it's safe to assume it's over. At least hopes of taking the lead in Brazil. It's never over until you're fully outscored. But here it's about, I want to say it's 30 plus 25 plus fastest lap point, 57 odd points out. As long as they stay within that entering Abu Dhabi, they've got chance. But Ollie is your pole man. He lines up 3 tenths quicker than Rising Star, with Limitless Draco in 3rd place, Ali Hayder 4th, 4 different nationalities, all splitting that top 4, with Shazad and then Jake 5th and 6th, Mikal 7th, Stoned Hunter 8th, Mika 9th, and then the second Mercedes in 10th, which is a fairly big wound in their championship charge. It's definitely going to drop a bit of the momentum. But yeah. So far this season, McLaren's most points in a single weekend was 51. And that was the Spa Sprint, where they basically went on to score most of the points out there. This is another sprint, and Mercedes are hoping to do a similar result, to claw themselves back in. But who really knows? As now, we line up on the grid for the penultimate time this season. 5 red lights, they're gone, so are the drivers. As we head up into turn 1, Ollie, is he going to dart to the inside? No, he won't. He will not do what he done in the sprint. And this time, you can see there's Shazad going from the second row on the grid to last in a very quick instant. As I don't believe Paul Dive actually done quali in the end, so I believe that's AI in this race, as I want to say he left the session. But anyways, Rising Star being second, he started the race just like this last time out. He was second throughout the whole first lap, and then he went on to win. However, it was only 12 laps. We've got triple that in store this race, so triple the action hopefully. But Ollie has really pulled away. You can see what tyres they started on. Mediums for Ollie and Limitless Draco, hards for Rising Star and Ali Hayder. You have 5 constructors in top 5, as there's the Limitless Draco moving himself up into the top 2 here. This is Limitless Draco's time to shine. He needs something magical here. Is he going to get it? He's got DRS to claw himself in on Ollie. But Ollie, he's already done a massive dent in that first lap. He's already got 9 tenths. If he gets outside DRS range this lap, it's safe to assume that Ollie will win 2 in the 3 races he's in 2 of the 3 events he's participated in, which will be a higher win rate than either of the championship rivals this season, which that just shows how insanely difficult it is to consistently win. But in Ollie's defence, he's only done 2 races to this date, as he set fastest a lap, and he is now out of DRS range of Limitless Draco. Limitless Draco's got to defend over Rising Star on pure merit now. He's got no DRS on the Red Bull. Will the Williams go for a move, however? I don't think he will, as currently Shazad has just retired from this race. You can see he's hit the wall, and that was his race over. But I can't actually tell whether or not Paul Diver's AI or not. It really comes down to braking points and racing line. But it's so difficult to tell, as at the moment it almost looks like time trial. That's the best way to put it. They're hot lapping against one another seeing who's quicker. But it looks like it's Pull Diver. But then there's some parts where Sase is quicker, which makes a change. He finally has someone to compete with. But yeah. Up into turn 1, however, you can see Mikau overtaking Defense Master. If you're Master at Defense, why are you yielding a place that easily? Sometimes I wonder. But there you can see Rising Star and Jake have got ahead of Limitless Draco, as Mika has gone wide in an attempt to overtake Lex. He's going to continue the momentum though, and then try and overtake Lex into Laranja, but fails to do so. And in this race, Ollie has almost got a 2-second lead, which, I can't lie, it's absurd how strong he is at the moment. He really isn't being threatened in this race, and that is what makes me worried that he will get the win. Because for Limitless Draco's sake, it ain't gonna happen. As Jake has promoted himself into top 2. Can he put some pressure onto Wally? Is he going to be quick enough? Is the main question, however. Does the Ferrari have pace? Very, very, very massive question is the best way to describe it. Because if he does, he can drag these cars along and maybe let them stay within fighting distance of Ollie in this race, as the lap's already flying by. It's already lap 5, we're almost on lap 6, as Ollie now enters the final sector of lap 5. As you can tell, he has dropped off his personal best pace, probably a bit of tyre wear here, or it's just tyre management, which could mean one or two things. He's trying to go long, or his tyres are just disintegrating. But anyways, what is disintegrating is Jakem's places, as he's lost 2 places into turn 1 on Rising Star and Limitless Dracos. They went 3 wide. Them 2 in 2nd and 3rd are no strangers to going 3 wide. They done it in the sprint race, and it came out in the exact same order between them 2. But the driver in 4th was different. It was Paul Diver. Then it's, well, Jakem now. But I think what's a big takeaway in this race is, yes, Ollie's mediums looked like the better start tyre. The hards are staying in their own. The hard runners, Rising Star and Ali Hader, aren't actually too far off, because Rising Star and Ali Hader are attached to this queue for 2nd down to 5th. And then Mika and Mikau on the hards. Well, Mika is still in range of Stone Hunter and Lex, who's 6th and 7th as they've swapped places up into turn 1. But we can see now Rising Star, he's going to try and get a bit better traction on the better grip tyres of the hards to the inside. And that's P2, easy done it. Not too much to debate about, as there was a little snap of oversteer there. But apart from that, he shouldn't be worried. Should be a-okay. As now, we just wait it out a bit. Wait till the first car pits. We're going to get a lot of this in this race though, car swapping, especially in those mini trains. However, at the moment, the gap's not really changing. Rising Star, however, is starting to put a hole into his advantage over Limitless Draco. Starting to punch the air a bit and get going. But Ollie, he's now 2 seconds ahead in this race. But you can see there's Jake on Limitless Draco. They're going to bang wheels through turn 1, but go through turn 2 nicely. Limitless Draco, he's going to get poor exit. You could see he braked on the apex of turn 2. And that's going to let Ali Ada have a chance in that McLaren. But currently, Ali Ada stays put. We will work our way a bit further back down the field, however. Lex, who's starting to make a gap on Stoned Hunter. He's definitely my driver of the day so far. However, we're only 8 laps in. He started 10th here. He's now up in 6th. And he's starting to catch the collection of 4 cars just up ahead. And so far in the top 5 different constructors. In top 9, 5 different constructors. Top 10, however, 6. So yeah, we have definitely got a very interesting race in our hands. If you of course hear a lot of sound effects from my chair, it's just how sensitive it is to a shift in body weight. But yeah, there's the Limitless Draco to the inside, surely gets the move done. Didn't almost, but Jake had a mistake and now he's dropped to 5th. So it was a rather big mistake from Jake. And yes, I'm a poet and I didn't know it. How cringy am I? Deal with it, I'm your commentator. But yeah, anyways, back to the race instead of writing poetry. Limitless Draco, he's starting to pile some pressure on Rising Star. He put enough pressure on Jake to make him basically have to escape for a little breather. But yeah, now Limitless Draco, he's homed in on the Williams ahead. Is he going to get the move? It's now lap 10 of 36 now. And it's Ollie who leads Rising Star, then Draco, Ali Hader, then Jake M, with Lex in 6th, Stoned Hunter 7th, Mika 8th, Mikau 9th, and then Defense Master in 10th. But you can see back there's Stoned Hunter and Mika both having a little fight with Lex. Lex really struggling, as now Mika on the hards, can he promote himself? Currently the answer's no. But as you can see just how close they are, it's going to get clear eventually, but it's starting to get very loomy. You can see in more this angle where you can see a fair chunk of the halo and a fair chunk of the car ahead, that the sky is getting rather grey. Could we see some rain? If so, Rising Star, Ali Hader, Mika and Mikau, spot on with the strategy. They can probably extend to it. However, who knows, as there's a Limitless Draco really being unlimited with his racing ability. He's got so many overtakes done this race, and he's only found one place from where he started, which does say a fair bit about the competition here. If you've ever seen Olympic cycling, this is a lot like it. They'll all follow in a line, and then they'll take turns in the lead. They'll all get a turn over the course of 10 laps or whatever. It's, however, difference in that and this is usually the leader drops to the very back. That happens maybe once every 5 or so laps. In this, it's usually second or third in the queue, just because they know that they can't drop too far. But now Rising Star, can he lift himself back up into the top 2? He's got DRS on the Mercedes now, gonna probably save, I was gonna say burn, but he's saving. You can just see different battery modes. That Limitless Draco's burned a lot more as he's had a snap there. The medium's really starting to let go from the Mercedes. We saw it with Lex a few laps ago. He just had a massive conundrum with tyre grip. And now we're starting to see it with Limitless Draco. Is he going to start fading out in this race? Hope not, just for the sake of his title. But yeah, just want to show that I ain't really trying to. Yeah. But yeah, Limitless Draco, now the car behind in that 2 of Limitless Draco and Rising Star. As Limitless Draco, he hangs on to P2. It's still getting rather gloomy, however, as the gap is now 2.5 seconds between Ollie and Limitless Draco. Big thing to point out, 1.4 of them were pulled out in the first 2 laps. Since then, only a second, roughly. So it does show how it was just how strong his start stage was. And now, he's kind of backed off a tone or two. But yeah, as things stand, Rising Star is going to overtake Ali Hayder and will definitely overtake P6's Hefastaf. As things also stand, McLaren should still be leading in the constructors, as Ali Hayder's just promoted himself from 4th to 2nd in one straight. I did not see that coming, but fair play to the McLaren. He's really putting in work when the championship leader's not in, who is his strict teammate Shazad, just a reserve stepping in this weekend. But yeah, Ali Hayder, amazing move there, absolute class. But anyways, that is a very, very good move, as I believe that was Jake having a moment there and starting to lag around a bit. May want to tone that in before it gets a bit too hectic, as I'll be honest, my voice is dropping slowly. But that is where I adjust my mic gain a bit. Hopefully you can hear me a tiny bit better, but yeah, I can't guarantee much. Voice is starting to go. Limitless Draco tried overtaking Rising Stars. Stoned Hunter, 10-second penalty, speeding in pit lane. He's trying to trigger an undercut. Mika, 3 seconds. Is this where all the penalties come in now then? Stoned Hunter, mediums to the hards. Very nicely done. Back out he goes. However, 10 seconds looming on him as Paul Diver fighting still via Ghosts against Sese. They're really just having fun with it now, aren't they? The 2 Ghosts. As let's commentate this. I was going to say to the inside, but they're just going into each other, literally, and not metaphorically, literally going into each other. As, yeah, this is just time trial at this point. Whose ghost can go quicker? This is a storyline you will want to be following this race, ladies and gents. I think this is more interesting than who is going for the title. But yeah, Sese versus Paul Diver, Ghost versus Ghost, V-Carb Ghost versus Alpine Ghost, Shit Car Ghost versus Shit Car Ghost. You get the gist. As they both entered pits. Who's going to come out first? But Defence Master also entered pits. But yeah, seriously, who comes out first? Pool Diver or Sese? Sese now into his box. You can see there's Pool Diver. Looks like a better stop from the Alpine. And they come out again inside each other. I'll let that race unravel a bit longer before giving you the next update around lap 30. But yeah. Anyways, Ollie, despite all that, has extended his lead to almost almost 4 seconds. 3.6, 3.7 is more accurate. As a Limitless Draco, it's undercut time. He says he's going to try and claw sometime back on Ollie. As he now limps into the pits, it's the hards going on, and out he comes. Quite easy, ain't it? However, has Stoned Hunter found enough time to undercut Limitless Draco? You can see Stoned Hunter now really going to try and get the throttle on. Get it planted. As you can see, there's the Limitless Draco, who is rather safe from the threat. But does Ollie feel threatened by the move that Limitless Draco's made? Or does he think that this racer still is? Let's change the gaps to leader so we can get a bit more context. It's about 20 seconds or so for a stop. Into the pits goes Ollie. Clearly he was threatened, but we can still keep a track on how it goes between the Williams and McLaren in top 2 versus the Limitless Draco and Jake. As Jake is now in the pits, Ollie, he's coming out of the pits as the Limitless Draco racing up towards the line now. Surely he's going to be ahead of the Ferrari, but will we? Going through turn 1, Limitless Draco goes now. There's Jake working his way down, but back to Limitless Draco. It's going to be him who's ahead, but Jake is going to be racing Stoned Hunter on the exit. But Jake just shimmies his way in front, squeezes his way onto the racing line, I'd say. But yeah, Jake P8, Stoned Hunter P9, Limitless Draco P7, however your provisional leader, Ollie, in P6. Obviously he's 15 seconds back on leader, but everyone ahead of him. Haven't heard of a thing called a pit stop yet, but now, I was going to say now Rising Star pit, looked like he was. He wasn't. As now I was going to say Haas for some reason, the Williams continues his march on in the lead. Does the Limitless Draco have better pace on the hards than he had mediums maybe? Because he's starting to catch a Rising Star. But is he catching Ollie enough? It's a fairly burning question. I don't think he is. I think it's rather bang equal there. As Mika versus Lex, then Rising Star versus Ali Hayder. I'll be honest, if Lex can get them tyres, well, get the mediums to about lap 25, he could go to the end on softs if he wanted. And that'd be a really effective one-stop on the mediums. But then that's more of a strategy to look at if I was Rising Star, Ali Hayder or Mika. And what we've learned is, even though his uses I win lots at the end, it's a very funny looking first. It's currently P3. But yeah, Ollie and Limitless Draco cutting their way down from the lead. However, Ollie seems to be on the ball in terms of pace. He's immediately gone up to Limitless Draco's and matching. However, the issue with commentating is how stuffy my room gets, because I'm trying my best to limit out all the noise, but as a result everything's closed and I just get so warm, which I don't like. which therefore means, especially in last half, I start deteriorating in performance. However, I think I've stayed strong. Anyways, Ali Hayder. He's doing a Marco. He's leading for McLaren. But there is Rising Star into the pits. Where will he come out? In respect to his teammate as he's drifted into the pit entry. Insane skill there. But if someone was watching properly to Stewart, they went over the white line. So, could be questioned post-race. As Limerick Straker and Jake, rather clear of Rising Star, as he has even came out behind his teammate. However, our team orders a thing at Williams. I'd like to hope so, because they are at Mercedes. But currently not really showing much, as there's a yellow flag out on track for thumbs up, who just had a solo moment or two. As Ollie has caught up with Mikau. Ollie has just dropped the ball on Limerick Straker. He's still extending his leader. He's racing for the championship now. Yeah, he's joined a few races too late. His debut was Silverstone. And now he's in Brazil, about to pick up his second win here. As he goes to the outside on Mikau to take the lead, as Ali Hayder and Mika have pitted. So have Lex. Lex 21 laps on them mediums. He's on the softs. See, I did bring it up, softs being an option. Didn't think he'd do it this early, but let's see how Lex does. Could he drag himself up? But then could this be a part of the Mercedes strategy all along? I can't lie, it's a good shout. So yeah, good result so far, I'd say. It's been a good race. As, yeah, you've still got 4 cars in for fight on P3. That will soon become P2, as Mikau has now dived into the pits. Ali Hayder a few seconds, 2 seconds off Stoned Hunter, who does have 10 seconds. Ali Hayder does have 3. So yeah, it's mainly a race between these as Rising Star muscles his way around the outside of Jake, gets a pinch from Draco, and back down the order as Jake just manages to re-manoeuvre himself back up into P4. But there's Rising Star around the outside. They're going to get elbows out up to the curb. But anyways, Jake stands strong. The Ferrari P4 as his teammate, currently in P2. I thought he was pitting, but he's still out on track. It's so difficult to tell if a driver's pitting because the racing line goes across the pit entry. But Rising Star and Jake fighting like gladiators as Stoned Hunter dropping the ball quite seriously, like Andrea Nana. But yeah, anyways, Jake now DRS on Rising Star, who has DRS on Limerick Draco. But Jake to the inside, he's gonna fight back against Williams. I think that's the only thing they know how to do though, fight. It's worse than me and my brother sometimes, but it's fun as hell to watch. As the laps are ticking away, you don't even notice the laps ticking away when you're watching 2, 3, maybe even 4 gladiators just going to war with one another on the track, especially in different constructors. It makes it so much better because it really opens it up a lot more. As Rising Star had a look to the inside on Limerick Draco, Stoned Hunter really struggling quite a bit. Ali Hayder starting to catch, as I'd like to say Ali Hayder's the quickest car on track at the moment. He's catching the cars ahead and slightly catching Ollie, while Ollie is pulling away from this kerfuffle. Jake to the outside of Rising Star. Rising Star's done that on Jake numerous times. Have Jake just not enough traction to actually compete. As now Rising Star DRS on Limitless Draco. Up into turn 4, no move is due from the Williams, as Stoned Hunters finally yielded P6 to the McLaren. Once Mikal pits, it will again be 5 constructors in the top 5, which is insane. And the best part about it is, in the constructors, they are 1st, 2nd, 4th, 6th and 7th, which is a fairly estranged order, but yeah. However, this kind of result by Red Bull here is going to put them 3rd, but then I say they're a bit off if they want to go for the title, because McLaren and Mercedes both scoring double points. So it's not like they can gain much if they do gain anything. As Mika is fighting Lex. Mika P8. But will Lex fight back? Who's got DRS? I didn't quite see it. It's Lex with DRS. He's going to probably use a tiny bit of battery, go to the inside, and that's up into P8 for the Mercedes. Lex now on a roll. Once again, as there's Ali Hayder down the inside of Mikal. Mikal, 25 laps on them hards. He might as well go to the softs and go to the end. But he's going to be a whole pit stop off these lot. It's going to be an amazing effort if he does get himself back into this race. But if he was to pit now, he should come out, I want to say, 7 seconds behind P10 of Defence Master, who's on 10 lap old hards, which is older than the tyre life of the whole top 5. So yeah, should be quick. But anyways, Limitless Draco P3. It's been a fairly okay weekend. It's a weekend he's got to capitalise, and he hasn't really capitalised in the best of his ability. In his defence, the sprint race was a bit wonky. Paula Diver, Thomas Ronha in disguise, I think. He was very aggressive with how he was defending, and in some elements overtaken. But yeah, for those who are interested in time, in the UK it's 8:30. If you know the conversion to your own time zone, there you go. But yeah, anyways, Limitless Draco to the inside, and this P2 for the Mercedes. This is really going to be a race-along fight. And for Draco, he needs to be at the front of this group come the end of the race. When I say group, I'm not including Ali Hayder because he does have 3 seconds. I may filter him in if others in this fight do get penalties. But how elite they're driving, no chance. As there's Ali Hayder, who has gone round and has decided to retire. That's a double McLaren DNF. And if you haven't pieced it together yet, Limitless Draco is currently scoring 20 points for P3. Yes, it's not the typical 15 in this league. It's 30, 25, 20, so on and so forth. Then 18, I believe it is, for P4. So yeah, Limitless Draco. He is in a place that occupies him 20 points. let's just say, for the sake of the math, McLaren outscored them by 4 points in the sprint. That's 32 points. 20 of the points makes it 12. Plus Lex, who's finishing about P8, that's further 7 odd points. Just some mental arithmetic. 5 points between McLaren and Mercedes into the finale, as there's a bit of front wing going off of Jake, as the host has disconnected. Limitless Draco has disconnected. What horror. That is the favourite for the title disconnecting from the session. As what I'm going to do quick is he's just asked for an invite. He's not showing online, which is an issue. Let's try and find him. Oh, I've just invited my brother. Whoops. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Just gotta send him a message back. Well, yeah, I've done my all. Yeah, sorry for you lot who are just seeing pause menu. But yeah, this is kind of the only way I can invite Draco. Which is kind of priority in this league. So commentary does take a mini step back when it comes to becoming a lobby host. Yeah, I've done all I can. I believe he's back in, which is reassuring, because his pace is somewhat matching leaders. So yeah, I'm hoping he's back in. But yeah, that is a really big blow. An insanely big blow, to say the least. Because it's put him quite out of the chance for top 3. However, it's still going to be 18 points, more or less. But what you can hope for these final 5 laps is Rising Star and Jake crash. We've seen them get very close to doing so here. As there's yellow flags out on track, it's Lex who has had a moment. Unfortunately not either of the top 3 runners. As Ollie, he's 7 seconds clear of Rising Star. He's on a drive of a lifetime. I don't think I've seen a drive so dominant here as well. So yeah. But yeah, we are lap 33 of 36. For those who have just joined, we've had both McLarens, who, for a bit of context, Constructors' Championship leaders, DNF in this race. Limitless Draco, P4. He's currently scoring 18 due to the league's altered point system. A win is 30. And points go down to 15th, for a bit more context. You are due your recent update on the Pool Diver versus Sese, but you can see they are 4 seconds apart in favour of Pool Diver. So that is it. Limitless Draco, who is currently the only championship contender who's got a mathematical shot in this race, disconnect and then have to rejoin through me. But yeah, apart from that, all fun. As there is Jake promoting himself into the top 2 here, onto the final 3 laps, as there's contact between Rising Star and Jake. They almost sent each other off the road a bit, as Stoned Hunter into the pits. He's going to serve his 10 seconds, so it's not added post-race. Mikhail picks up 3, but this is going to be pain-aching. Surely I would have gone to the end and had the 10 seconds added on. But then he's doing it for fastest lap because he's putting softs on. He's going to try and nick it off of Ollie, if I'm right, who is the Red Bull leading and currently showcasing probably a very dominant league result. But Stoned Hunter out on track in 9th now. As Mikhail, I don't know what he's doing, but he's just spun round. He's on 33 lap old hards. He has not pitted yet this race. Surely he pits this lap, because it's a lap 35 for the leader. He can pit this lap and have 2 attempts at fastest lap. And he doesn't. He powers on. He has to do it this lap now. But he is a madman. 30... Oh, yeah. Lap 35 for him now. And he's still on the hards. I have never seen this in a league race, where someone goes the full race distance on the set of hards. I've seen drivers go close, such as Koname and Marco in Canada this season, where they ended up having to pit towards the end as it got very damp, went to inters and fought it that way. But I've never seen someone go to the very final opportunity. As Ollie starts his final lap, Mikhail has to pit this lap. Best way to describe him is Alex Albon, in the sense, only driver to go that depth in real life. And then also George Russell, the tyre whisperer. Because if I was him, my tyres would be gone on lap 10. But does he pit? No, he doesn't pit. He doesn't pit. He is disqualified from session, because he has failed to use the tyre compounds allocated in this race. Which, to say the least, is probably a waste of 45 minutes for him. But, yeah, that's just people nowadays. But I have to give credit to this man. It's his 3rd race here. He's won 2 of them. He won in Britain. He got a podium in Qatar. And he's going to win by 9 seconds after DNFing in the sprint. Ollie wins in Brazil with Jake 2nd at the moment. But Rising Star, just like in Brazil sprint, could he do it in a drag race? He won't be close enough. Rising Star 3rd. Limitless Draco, unfortunate for him. He was disconnected when fighting for P2, and therefore P4 is all he can get. Mika 5th. Lex, amazing result, P6. This is what Mercedes need to surmount a charge on McLaren. As defence master, wasn't too strong in defence, to say the least. He's 7th. Stoned Hunter will be coming home 8th. While Thumbs Up is your last classified finisher, as Paul Diver and Sese are both AI, and Sese appeared a lap down. But honestly, hats off to this young man. Ollie absolute dominated the field. No threat at all. He built out a second lead on the first lap and just held it all race, extended to 9 seconds at the end. But last time I saw a drive this dominant, it was Crossfire Strikes in a Williams at Imola, where he won by a good 12 seconds. As Ollie is your race winner. It's his second win here in Slipstream Racing League, and we've got one race left in this championship, which is next week, and I will be your commentator then. So if you are new to the channel and watching this, enjoyed my commentary, and want to see the finale where Marco, Limitless Draco and Konami are in for a shot at title, subscribe, turn noties on. And if you want to join the league, let me know, because here are your results for the weekend. Ollie bags 25 points, Rising Star 23, Limitless Draco 18, but then to filter in, this is not accurate at all. This is just what the game's given you. But that's your results for this weekend. The league, however, will change up. I will hopefully post the standings before the finale next week. However, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye.